I warned him once. Invite her to your birthday dinner and you'll wish you hadn't. The words hung in the air, sharp and deliberate, as I stared at my husband, Ethan, across our dining table. Sunlight filtered through the blinds, catching the silver in his hair. A reminder of the years we'd shared, now fraying at the edges. He barely glanced up from his phone, chuckling as if I'd told a bad joke. "Claire, you're overreacting," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "It's just a dinner. You're letting jealousy cloud your judgment." I gripped my coffee mug, the one I'd bought him for our 10th anniversary, and felt the cold weight of certainty settle in my chest. This wasn't jealousy. This was evidence. Thank you for joining me in this story of boundaries, betrayal, and consequences. If you value standing up for what's right and documenting the truth, consider subscribing to support narratives like this one. Now, let's dive into what happened next. For months, I'd watched Ethan change. New suits, sharper haircuts, a cedarwood cologne I'd never chosen. He'd always been a creature of habit, same barber, same faded jeans, but now he was polished, purposeful, orbiting someone else's gravity. Vanessa Reed, his 45-year-old director at Apex Solutions, was the center of that orbit. Late-night texts about project updates with smiley faces. Dinners he claimed were client meetings. Hotel charges on our joint card he dismissed as work travel. I'm a legal analyst. I don't trust words. I trust patterns. So I started collecting them. Screenshots of messages. Receipts from restaurants we'd never visited together. Timestamps of calls at 1 a.m. I built a case, piece by piece, in a locked folder on my laptop. Ethan didn't know. He'd stopped noticing me, too busy sculpting himself into someone Vanessa would admire. 3 weeks ago, I'd sent an anonymous tip to Apex's HR, alleging Vanessa's favoritism towards certain male subordinates. It lacked teeth, too vague to spark. But it planted a seed, a marker in her file, waiting for the right moment. Ethan's 38th birthday dinner was that moment. He'd booked the private room at La Vigna, where we'd gotten engaged 7 years ago. A sentimental choice turned corporate spectacle, with Vanessa as his special guest. I'd warned him that morning, voice steady. Make her the focus, and we're through. He rolled his eyes, called me insecure, and went back to his seating chart, her name starred at his side. I met with my old colleague, Lauren, an employment law expert, days before. Over bitter espresso in a nondescript cafe, she laid out the stakes, solid evidence, texts, receipts, witnesses, could force a company to act fast to avoid scandal. Document everything, she said. Protect yourself. I already had. My folder held 142 items, each dated, categorized, undeniable. The night of the dinner, I wore the gray dress Ethan suggested, modest, forgettable. La Vigna shimmered with candlelight and wealth, white lilies wilting on every table. My name card sat me between Ethan's cousin, Derek, and a coworker named Paul. Vanessa's card, elegant script with a flourish, claimed the seat beside Ethan. I photographed it, added it to my folder. Spouse displaced, director prioritized. Guests arrived, colleagues, gym buddies, Derek with his usual smirk. Ethan played host, all charm and ambition, while I smiled and faded into the background. Vanessa swept in at 7:28, her emerald dress commanding the room. No +1, just her, radiating authority. Ethan abandoned his conversation to greet her, his hand grazing her back as he introduced her like a trophy. "Vanessa Reed, my mentor," he said, his voice warm in a way that used to be mine. I stayed out of the photographer's frame, letting them document their own downfall. Dinner unfolded, salmon for Vanessa, who loved it, nothing for me, allergic and ignored. Ethan toasted her at 9:15, glass raised, praising her guidance, her belief in him. The room clapped, glasses clinked, and Vanessa stood, wrapping him in a hug that lingered. 6 seconds, her cheek against his shoulder, his hands on her waist. The photographer snapped away. I opened my phone under the table, finalizing 3 emails to Apex's legal team, ethics board, and CEO's assistant. Subject: urgent policy violation. Attachments: 142 pieces of evidence. I hit send at 9:22. 10 minutes later, Vanessa's phone lit up. Her face crumpled as she answered, voice rising as she stepped into the hall. "This can't be happening," I heard before she vanished. Ethan watched, confused, checking his phone for answers that wouldn't come. Guests whispered, sensing the shift. Vanessa returned, pale, grabbing her purse. "Emergency," she muttered, fleeing without goodbyes. Ethan stayed, lost, as the party unraveled. By 10, most guests had slipped away, leaving wilting lilies and half-eaten desserts. The next morning, my phone rang. Vanessa's lawyer, voice slick with threats, demanded I retract my false claims. I listed my evidence, texts, receipts, photos, calmly, then hung up. By noon, I'd separated our finances, the house already mine from a family trust. Ethan came home at 3, eyes hollow. "They put me on leave," he said. "Vanessa's fired." "What did you do?" I handed him divorce papers and the hug photo. "I kept my promise," I said. He left with his boxes, no fight left. Apex's press release hit Monday. Vanessa terminated for ethics violations. A blog post went viral. Photos of their hugs splashed across LinkedIn. Ethan's name became a cautionary tale. Vanessa's husband called, his divorce filed, kids caught in the fallout. 6 months later, I'm in a new apartment, promoted, dating someone who listens. Ethan's in a new city, starting over. People ask what I did to make Vanessa unravel. I didn't. I just documented the truth and let consequences do the rest. What was your favorite moment in Claire's calculated stand? Share below and subscribe for more stories of justice and courage.